What is going on, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics. Got an interesting post today from the CGC Comics fans Facebook group. This is a person that asked my first multiple book mail call, possibility that CGC got these two books flip-flopped in the wrong cases. I have zero issues with the 9.2 and the 7.0 grades, but, and then question mark for, with thoughts. So basically, you can tell here they submitted 2 copies of New Mutants 98. First appearance of Deadpool. And what they're wondering is, did CGC inadvertently or accidentally put the wrong books in the wrong cases? This is one of those things that, I don't know, I feel like it's worth discussing just so people are aware that it does happen. It is not a common occurrence, though. But you should be aware that just in case for this kind of stuff. But we're going to take a close look at these, and I'm going to tell you why I do not think that these are swapped. I do think one of the books got a extremely generous grade, but they did not get swapped. So if you remember, I did a video, let's see, how long ago? So this one was 4 months ago, where this happened on a very high profile book. There was a Marvel Spotlight 5 that got a 9.8 that got swapped, I believe, with another copy of Marvel Spotlight 5 that was in the same submission that got a 9.2. So there was one book, there was a 9.2 that was in a 9.8 case and a 9.8 that was in a 9.2 case, something like that. It was either 9.2 or 9.4, which, you can see in this video, $300,000 mistake. Yes, because a 9.8, actually kind of like a $400,000 mistake. I think a 9.8's last sale was like $400,000. And I believe it all eventually got worked out and addressed, everything like that. But this kind of thing can happen. It shouldn't happen. It absolutely should not. I'll say that. I am not justifying that. Absolutely should not happen. Absolutely with books that are that expensive, but shouldn't happen at all. But that is why someone might think that something like this may have happened with their submission. Now, when we're talking about, stuff like this is where, I don't know. It's kind of a tricky conversation, but this is why we have grading companies, so that you don't have to have these types of conversations. Now, it doesn't help the case when they make mistakes like that. But in this post, you can see here, there's some different conversation from people. These photos tell only a minor % of the story. Punch in those numbers in the site and see the whole story is about. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go look at the CGC site. We're going to look up these cert numbers and kind of where we can get better pictures of everything as well. And we can talk about this. But the person that actually made the post, one of the comments that they made, and this is why, it's important to understand how very specific flaws can have impacts on a grade. Because this person said, that actually made the post, that the reason they thought, I'll say that I'm kind of paraphrasing for them, but it seemed like the reason they thought the 9.2 and the 7.0 were flipped is that they said they would have paid more for the 7.0 than the 9.2 if they saw them outside of the cases. And the reason is, and this is where, again, like different flaws get you to different places on in the grade, and certain flaws are going to cap your grade no matter what. And so the 7.0 had one big flaw. For the most part, we'll say it had one big flaw, and that flaw was on the back cover. And so it means that from the front cover, the book actually looks better. The 9.2 had multiple flaws, mostly relegated to the spine and corners. And those are flaws you could see from the front. And so that book in reality looks worse if you're actually just looking at it from the front of the book. And so this is why, you have these third-party graders, but it's also important to understand that. And it's what people say when they say, buy the book, not the grade, that kind of thing, if you want to take that advice. But the 9.2 is going to sell for more than the 7.0, no matter what, especially once it's in the case. But let's start looking at these books. Okay. So here's the 9.2. And it just says multiple spine stress lines, spine breaks color. And one of the reasons I like, the CGC site like this, I love that they do the scans now. You can very easily see the books and you can get a good idea of the flaws and everything. This is the book. I mean, yeah, it got the 9.2, but I'm telling you, like, this is a gift. Like, if you watch one of my prior videos, like, this is the type of book you do not send this book back in for a signature. You never crack this book out of this case. I think this book is an 8.5. But let's take a look at it. So we're going to zoom in here. And I mean, yeah, it's like blended little corner, but that's nothing up there. But it's like when you're looking at flaws like this is where you start counting up flaws. And one color breaking tick basically is minus 0.1. So you start at a 10, more or less, and you subtract 0.1 for each flaw. So it's like 1, 2, 3. I think that might be one there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then we go to the corners, kind of a blunted corner there, 14, up to this corner, 15. There are 15 pretty clear color breaks on this book. Like, I mean, it's not like these are small. Like these travel into the book. Like, I mean, to me, this is a solid 8.5 for this book. Now we can take a look at the back. And you can see here again, kind of like a little bit of a rounded corner. I can't really see anything down there. The back, you can see like these aren't small ticks. You know, it's like that's kind of like a crease down there on the back. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12. So, you know, it's like, I don't see this book as a 9.2, like in any way. I mean, to me, this is a solid 8.5. Like when you're talking about this kind of stuff, it's like I honestly, I can't see a 9. Like I can't see a 9 with this book, but I'll just like to be gracious or whatever. We'll say like maybe on like a 9, but 9.2 total gift on this book. But that's why, you know, maybe somebody could be confused by this, but this is in no way a 7, like absolutely not a 7. All right. But now let's go look at the other book. So this is the other book here. And let's look at the front. So we're going along the spine here. I mean, maybe you call that something, but it's really nothing. Like maybe like a super tiny tick at that staple. 1. I mean, keep going down. There's like virtually nothing. Like this spine, super clean. Let's go along the bottom edge. Bottom edge, super clean. Corner, really sharp. Right edge, really sharp. Top corner, really sharp. Top edge, very sharp. So that's what I'm talking about here. Like this book from the front looks incredible. Like this book from the front is probably 9.6. Could even argue for a 9.8. Like there was maybe one noticeable tick, and it's still pretty small. Like this book from like, it's like this little thing at the staple, and maybe there's one more and like kind of a soft corner. Like from the front here, I would say this book all day is a 9.6 and potentially has a shot at a 9.8. But then you go to the back cover. In the back cover, you see it has this huge color breaking crease. You know, I mean, like this thing is 1, 2, 3, like 3.5 inches. I might even be underestimating that some. I mean, it's like I'm trying to just, it's always kind of a little tough guessing what measurements are without a scale on here, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, might be more than that. Let's zoom out, maybe get a better picture. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because like from this, it's like zoomed in and stuff. So, but I think from here, it's probably 3.5 inches, maybe a little more than that. And so, like, if this was on the front cover, I don't think this is getting a 7. I think if this crease was on the front cover, I think 6.5 is the max that you're going to get with this book. Back cover, I've talked about that before. Like, you tend to get a little more leeway with the back cover, and especially, again, this is one of those things. Like, and I use this now as a reference point a lot, because when Mickey or Swaggle House Comics had Matt Nelson on his channel, he made a comment on how the presentation of a book can can actually make a difference on the grade, that perceived visual appeal. And this book from the front is a stunner. Like I said, like 9.6, maybe even a 9.8. So maybe you get kind of like a little bit of grace because of the back. And this is why, you know, it's like, yes, there is some subjectivity to grading, but you still get within a range. Like me, if I sent this book in, I'd probably expect a 6.5. If I got a 7, I'd be like, okay, it's not a big deal. If I sent this one in, I'd be expecting an 8.5, and I'd be real happy if I got a 9. 9.2, I'd be just like blown away. Like I wouldn't expect a 9.2. But this is why you could see why that person made that statement, that if they saw these two books, this 7.0 versus this, 9.2 in a bag, like on a wall somewhere at a con, they'd initially think they'd pay more for the 7. This is also why you need to always take your books out of the bags and check the back covers. It's something else I've also talked about a number of times. I've seen a lot of times where, like in people's videos where they're doing CGC returns, where they've literally made the comment, I bought it off the shelf. It looked so clean, I didn't even take it out and I sent it right in. And then they are shocked at the grade they get. And it's because there were flaws on the back cover. This is a perfect case for this. Big flaw in the back cover. You might think this was a 9.6, 9.8 if you didn't take it out. Who knows why this thing got that big crease on the back, but it did. And that's why this got that lower grade. But in this case, no, this is not like the Marvel Spotlight 5 where the 9.8 swapped with the 9.2. These are absolutely the right books in the right cases. It's just that one of them, the lower grade book presents very, very well from the front cover. And if you just want a presentation book, this is a perfect book that you wouldn't get slabbed. Like, to me, this is the type of book I would not send in for grading. Like if you go over to GPA and we look up New Mutants, number 98, this is GP analysis, one of the tools I use for pricing comics. And we look up a 7.0, what this book goes for. And we kind of scroll down here and you can see a 7.0, $250. 6.5, 250, 7.5, 236, like 8.0, 225. This is one of those weird things. Like I talked about price compression before and like how you would aim for the book that's the higher end of that range. Like, look at this, like an 8.0 last sale, 225, 6.5, 250, like target the 8.0, right? But regardless, I bet if you go on eBay and you wanted to sell this book, you could probably sell it for at least $200 raw. I mean, let's take a look. Let's go over to eBay. We'll look up New Mutants number 98. And it's 1991. And there's probably going to be like a ton of reprints and all this kind of stuff. Reprint. Remove just like a couple things there. And we're going to look at the sold prices. And we're going to go highest first, so then I can just kind of scroll down so I get rid of a lot of the junk. And like, look at this, like a lot of these, like raws, 400. And now, yes, there might be like an accepted price in here, but it's like 375, 350, 285, 325, 320. I mean, look how far I have to go down. Like I'm still at 250 here. 245, and this says very good condition, like 235, 230, 230. And so it's a pretty long ways. Like, look, the cheapest one that sold raw, $150. You get above 200 almost instantly. And so that's one of those things people have asked me, how do you decide when you're going to send a book in for grading? This is one of the ways I decide. If you're selling a book raw and you can sell that book, I mean, like, given how like low some of these are probably in pretty rough condition. If you can almost guarantee you're going to get $230 to $250 for this book raw, and if you wanted to get it graded after pressing and cleaning and grading fees, it's going to cost you, say, $50. If you can't get more than 300, you don't send that book in. Like it's like if it's a lower grade book, like that 7.0. And so you don't send that book in until you get up to like 9.2. Like his 9.2, and even that one, maybe you could have sold it for more, but who knows? But I wouldn't send that book in until I got to a 9.2. And so that's kind of the process I would make there for that, that decision. But like, so yeah, this book here probably should have just been kept raw if they were going to sell it. And this book I probably wouldn't have sent in when it got the 9.2. But all right, hopefully you enjoyed this. I got a couple little things out of here, like when I would send a book in versus when I wouldn't. label's definitely not swapped on this. And yeah, understanding limiting flaws on a book and why you could have a book that looks incredible on the front cover, but actually gets a much lower grade. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and I will see you on the next one.